Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd episode of the Fans of DC Universe podcast, the only DCU podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DCU. Joining us this week, we have Aquaman C137.
Howdy, y'all.
Awesome Squid.
Hello.
Me, Nathan.Payson, and TornadoSoup.
Hello.
Just curious, where'd you get the name TornadoSoup?
I don't really have an answer. It goes back to last year when I got Red Dead Redemption 2. And for some reason I just decided to name my horse Tomato Soup. So then when I got DC Universe in January, I decided to throw in tornado instead of tomato because then it's at least like kind of linked to DC through Red Tornado, and now I just stick with it.
It's so fascinating. Okay, this week on Fans of DC Universe, we're talking about Harley Quinn Episode 2, A High Bar, and more importantly, the Arrowverse. This week we'll be breaking down the Arrowverse, all of the Arrowverse shows this year, except Black Lightning, because apparently none of us have seen the most recent season. And then this will all lead up to Crisis. But real quick, we're going to talk for 5 minutes about the new Harley Quinn episode 2, A High Bar, where Harley Quinn went to a bat mitzvah, right? So what'd you think? Bar mitzvah is females, is girls, bat mitzvah is boys. I think. It's one or the other. I'll look it up. What do you guys think of the episode?
I liked it. I think I'm starting to find out that Harley Quinn is actually my least favorite part of the Harley Quinn series. And it's not necessarily saying anything bad about Harley. It's just I like everything else about it so much more. Like, I like Poison Ivy and the Legion of Doom and Frank so much more than Harley, which is just kind of weird. It makes me not sure how to feel about the series. Because, like, I can't support the main character as much as all the side characters, but I liked it. I liked it a lot more than the first episode.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, me too. I agree with everything you said, actually. Yeah, like, not that she's bad, but I feel like she's the weakest out of the characters. Like, the supporting cast is more enjoyable than she is. I definitely loved Bane in this episode, and I like Frank the Plant. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Kite Man was pretty funny in this episode.
Yeah.
I was not as big of a fan of this episode as I was last episode. To be honest,
Yeah.
I was expecting to hate the series, so the first episode was way better than I thought it was going to be. I just feel like this one didn't live up to that.
Okay, for those who wanted to attack me for not knowing the difference between a bat mitzvah and a bar mitzvah, here we go. Bar mitzvahs are for boys, bat mitzvahs are for girls. Sorry, I had to say that.
Now
right.
you know.
The more you know.
I knew that too, and I just forgot because I was watching Batwoman earlier, and Kate mentioned something about her bat mitzvah, and I was thinking, like, does she now call it a bat mitzvah because she's Batwoman? Is the bat emphasized now?
Oh, I guarantee that's not why Batman became Batman. It's just happening. It just happens to be coincidence.
Oh, Batman, like, Thomas Wayne's not Jewish, but it's Martha Kane's side of the family that would, so I don't think, yeah.
Do you know that because of Pennyworth?
No, I just from being a Batman fan. But I do love Pennyworth, though.
Isn't it good in the second season?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, go ahead. Tornado
think
Soup.
that would make. I think because Martha is Jewish, so that would make Bruce Jewish. Because I'm pretty sure it's passed down from the maternal side.
Well,
No,
like
it's-
he's not, but he's not a practicing Orthodox Jew though. So like that's really the
Yeah,
thing.
he's
You
not.
can have
He's not
Well,
practicing, but he is ethnically.
Well, Batman is an atheist, and we know that because of Tom King's run. Yeah.
Yeah, but like ethnically, he would be, and his parents were dead at 13, so never mind. He wouldn't have had a bar mitzvah anyway. So
yeah.
Well, if he was
it
13,
was
he
probably
might
just
have.
like
Anyway, let's not get too deep into
was
this.
probably
We're
just-
here to talk about Harley Quinn. I liked and I didn't like the portrayal of Kite Man. You know, I love Kite Man because of like his backstory and like his like secret like kindness and how he's not really a villain. But he came across as like super kind of creepy in this. Like him just assuming that like he should have sex now that he's like been invited over to like Ivy's house just bothered me a lot. And I get it was comedic, but it did bother me.
it was. I mean, yeah, it did come off as creepy, but more like an awkward creepy. Like he didn't seem like he was actively trying to take advantage of her. He just
No.
has
It
no
was like
idea.
it was an innocent.
Yeah, he just has no idea what social cues are, and is kind of just like stumbling through it, which I like. So like it is kind of innocent in a way, just a very weird innocence that is kind of uncomfortable.
And I think that's part of why I struggle is because it like took away from some of my enjoyment of who Kite Man is as a character and why he's a favorite of mine. Like, cause like he came across as just like a lumbering idiot, whereas I've always kind of thought that Kite Man's just more interesting as like this person who secretly really wants to do good in the world, but has like this like villainous attitude towards life. I don't know. Kite Man's such a hard character to like explain.
I mean,
Probably because the only person who's developed him so far is Tom King.
And that's not exactly a lot of development.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and really, all of the characters are now, like in the comics, Bane is like a genius and probably one of Batman's most dangerous villains. In this, he's also kind of an idiot that just gets bullied by Joker, and Penguin's kind of the same way, and Two-Face. Like, they're all just comedic shadows of their comic book selves. So I feel like that's kind of where Kite Man falls too.
Doesn't Scarecrow have like a British accent inside the show?
I don't remember. Okay,
Can't
so
remember
we
if it
gotta
was
move
British.
on. So everyone gets. So what's everyone's favorite joke? And then give the episode a score out of 10. I'll start. My favorite joke was Ivy was talking about like the like and like that like he had like a caretaker who was supposed to take care of the plants or whatever while Ivy was gone. I think that was this episode. Actually, I think it might have been last
that was episode 1.
Dang it! My other favorite joke then was when Harley was like manipulating this Cobblepot's son, and he was like, "I've never used an umbrella before," and I just thought that was kind of weird, and I just thought it was kind of funny, and like Harley Quinn, just some of the jokes she made, just like it was just I don't know, I thought that was really fun. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
I'd say my favorite joke is probably just the kind of over the top Bane voice that they have, the Tom Hardy impression. That's like everything he says now is at least 5 times funnier than it would be anyway, just because of the voice and the things he's saying are already funny. So yeah, that's probably my favorite. And then I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Aquaman, your turn.
I'd say the funniest parts. I'm not sure if the funniest. I did think that was pretty funny at the end with the little kid trying to go in for like a second smooch with holding up the tree. That was kind of funny. But yeah, Kite Man in general was funny. But I would give the show like a 6 out of 10. The episode, honestly.
Okay. And Awesome Squid.
That's hard to choose. I think I liked towards the beginning when all the villains are gossiping about Joker and Harley's breakup. And then Joker gets upset when they start saying that Harley broke up with him. And Harley and Joker sort of have this like argument where they're telling their friends that they broke up with each other.
Okay, one last, and what would you give it out of 10?
Probably a 6 or 7 out of 10. I
Okay.
still liked it, but it just wasn't as good as last episode to me.
Well, the other joke I thought was really funny is when Harley Quinn was surrounded by the Legion of Doom, which is really just all Gotham villains, which is weird. I was a little confused by that. But when she was surrounded by the Legion of Doom and they were going to take her out, and then she said, "Look at how Joker's treating you," and I thought that was really funny the way that happened. Honestly, Harley Quinn's a master manipulator. That's what I took away. So next up, let's talk about the new comics that came out this week. Action Comics number 1005, Aquaman Justice League Drowned Earth number 1, Batgirl number 29, Batman Beyond number 26, Detective Comics number 993, Flash number 59, Heroes in Crisis number 3, Justice League Odyssey number 3, Raven, Daughter of Darkness number 10, Silencer number 11, Terrifics number 10, Titans, just not Teen Titans, Titans number 30, Wonder Woman number 59, Batman Kings of Fear number 4, DC Nuclear Special number 1, Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe number 5, and Old Lady Harley number 2. And then newly digitized, which is we only list here because Don L likes it, is Ambush Bug Nothing Special number 1, Detective Comics number 336, The Doom Patrol number 10, House of Mystery number 119, House of Secrets number 121, Strange Adventures number 224, and Superman number 14. So what did you guys read this week?
I haven't read any of the newly digitized stuff.
Yeah.
But I started trying to work my way through Jeff Johns' Flash run. And I'm towards the end now, but towards the end there's a crossover with Wonder Woman from Greg Rucka's run. So in order to read that, I decided to just start Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman run because I've been meaning to get to that too. So now I've been speed reading through that so that I can get back to Flash and finish Flash and then get back to Wonder Woman. So that's pretty much taken up. Well, and then the Joker's Asylum from the One Shot Book Club this week.
I need to check that out.
I've read this week. I read a couple things. One of the ones I read was Old Lady Harley. I thought Old Lady Harley was super fun, and it surprised me. So you guys should check out. I started writing these reviews of some of the comics I read on DC Universe. And so this is what I said about Old Lady Harley. Old Lady Harley is fun with its world building, but its jokes are very hit or miss. I enjoyed the always guessing ability to make this world interesting, but certain parts of the world make no sense, like the Canadian Prime Minister. So this show is a post-apocalyptic world where Mexico and Canada have gone crazy. Mexico has gone crazy because the Legion of Doom has taken over it, and Canada has a zombie apocalypse. Meanwhile, everything in the United States is weird, and Power Girl is the president of the United States. And when I was talking about the Prime Minister of Canada, who's now a zombie, came to do a meeting with Power Girl, which was very confusing. And the Canadian Prime Minister tried to eat Power Girl. I'm a little confused as to why Canada still has a Prime Minister if it's all zombies, but that's beyond me. but it's super fun. You guys should check it out. And it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
This week, let's see. Well, for the stuff that just came digitized, the Drowned Earth, the Aquaman story. I read that when it first came out, and I think I've expressed with you, Nathan, I wasn't really crazy for it.
Yeah.
Just like another one of those, we're gonna set up, this big event and then really just not have it matter in the end, kind of thing. But for new stuff that I picked up this week and last, I guess, the Black Hammer Justice League crossover. It's pretty sure it was the last one. It was definitely fun. I really like the Black Hammer. Finished, the event Leviathan. That was good.
You liked it overall? Okay. Did you like it overall?
Did I Leviathan? Overall, it was okay. It was good. I was kicking myself in the foot like after the last issue. I was like, obviously it's a Martian manhunter, or not Martian, but a manhunter. Like that made total sense. I was kind of a little bummed though. Like I get we're gonna have to read more of the story. There's gonna be more to it. But I was kind of hoping it was just gonna be like a self-contained, 6-issue kind of story. I kind of like little, self-contained stories. I'm not a huge canon person, or like, having to, I don't know. Like I was a little bummed that it was gonna, we had to keep on reading for the story. I thought it was gonna be the conclusion.
Yeah, I just thought, I'll say this. I thought Event Leviathan was was a lot of sound and fury. It was like a lot of sound and fury, but it didn't really signify anything. The only real thing that happened in the book that happened was this Leviathan guy is is a manhunter, and that Lois Lane's father died. Those are the only two things of significance. And there was a lot of just this jumbled up stuff that seemed like it might be important and didn't end up feeling that important. And I think part of the problem is we had all these wild predictions about who it could be based on what was going on, and then the end result ended up feeling hyper tame. It was like a character I'd never heard of. Now I'm a much newer reader, but it was disappointing because I wanted it to be some big character who would drastic change, and then you'd have a lot of curiousness of how did we get here? And said it was this guy I'd never heard of. So that was, and well, honestly, a lot of the hints didn't really feel like they were there. You felt like you were obviously, and I kind of see it in retrospect, but it's it just didn't feel like it ended up being that important.
Oh yeah, it was lackluster, but as far as it being someone knowing, spoilers alert, sorry if anyone was wanting to read and hadn't.
Oh yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah, but I promise you're not missing much.
It's okay. It's not actually that significant.
But it was cool them throwing a manhunter back into the mix of things. I mean their story's kind of cool in regards to Owen, the Green Lantern Corps, but. Yeah, it was just after buying the 6 issues, I was I could have gone without reading it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and I say this as someone who bought the first 2 issues, and I normally wait till trades. So I rarely buy issues. So the fact that I bought issues tells you how much I was enjoying it, and then I was disappointed ultimately. One last comic review, and then we got to go on. I also really liked, I thought Heroes in Crisis is the strongest thing I read this week. And Heroes in Crisis as a whole is kind of rough. But Heroes in Crisis number 3 was actually really fun. I said Heroes in Crisis has some really interesting ideas about PTSD and trauma. However, plot-wise, nothing moves forward, which probably works in the story's favor. There is a real tragedy behind Wally and Lagoon Boy, which is portrayed very well. And I think Heroes in Crisis works best when it looks at the PTSD of heroes, and it fails miserably when it came to telling some sort of cohesive plot.
I'm just sorry, Nathan. I'm just gonna say this though. So I also picked up the Von Freeze for tie-in with the White Knight story, the Murphy story. Oh, fantastic! Definitely worth the read. When Freeze's background stuff's done good, it's done excellent. The 3rd or 4th, whatever issue of Superman Batman it was okay. I'm not really a Batman Who Laughs fan.
Yeah.
Picked up the Black Label, The Question, the death of Vic Sage. Is pretty good. Definitely reminds me of the O'Neill story back in the late '80s.
I read that too. I just got it about a week ago.
Yeah, a lot of those panels look like they're almost straight up from like the O'Neill story.
Yeah.
Okay, so remind me after the podcast is over to send Hub City an email or a message and just ask him what he thought of it. Because we all know he read it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I doubt it. I don't think he's really into Hub City stuff.
You don't think Hub City Question is into Hub City stuff? Yeah. No way. He hates Hub City.
Bad joke.
The Question is his least favorite character in the entirety of the DC Universe. Okay, so without further ado, actually I was going to talk about the Arrowverse, but we do have some speed news. Stargirl teaser trailer is out, you guys, but it literally doesn't reveal a single noteworthy thing or tell us anything that we didn't already know. So, and I literally don't have any feelings about it. Other than that, they shouldn't have done it. They should have just waited till they had something more significant to put out. So that's all I have to say on that. Let's move on to Arrowverse. So let's talk about the Arrowverse. Let's start with the Flash. Everything will be 10 minutes. So if you don't want full spoilers on a show, just skip ahead 10 minutes. And I'm going to time it very carefully. So just give me a second, and when I say go, the 10 minutes will start. Stop. What? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so The Flash this season centered around preparation for Crisis and blood work. So what do you guys think?
I'd say this is probably my favorite season of The Flash since season 2. I think it's really well structured.
Same.
It's, for one, it's got the best suit ever, so it's like that alone makes it just more fun to watch because it's the closest we've ever gotten to what's in the actual comics, so it's just really fun to see that on TV every week. And then having this central rallying point of Crisis and it's just, I mean, I know we're not supposed to be talking about Arrow yet, but I find it really interesting, like, seeing, because both Barry and Oliver are coming up against pretty much the same circumstances. They're both supposed to face their demise and Crisis, and watching how they handle that news in such different ways is really interesting. Like, Barry is just fully accepting of it. He's not really trying to fight it. He's just, all right, what can I do to make sure that the world is going to keep going after I'm gone? What can I do to prepare my team and make sure Central City is safe once I'm gone? And how can I make sure that the world doesn't need a Flash anymore? Whereas Oliver's more battle ready and less willing to just accept it because that's not who he is. So I think that's...
Yeah, well, I think here's my question. And this is something I want you to consider. Who has more to lose? Barry or Oliver? Like, and who has had more time to accept their deaths? Barry has more to lose?
I would say Barry's got more to lose, but I mean I guess that's kind of just up to your opinion. But
I think he also has more.
But I gotta say, I disagree with TornadoSoup though. Well, I mean, he's got the family that he's still trying to establish that he lost with Nora and everything. Oliver's already clearly has a daughter in the future who's about to have that spin-off series with the Black Canary thing. I feel like he's just would be more accepting to pay for his sins kind of situation when Barry has what's his biggest sin? Was going back and resetting the time thing with whatever that was, season 3 or 4. I just feel like Barry has more to lose, but I mean that's just my opinion. But as far as the season overall goes, man, I've not been digging it. I liked the end of the first episode with like the Queen, Flash, Gordon song. That was awesome.
Flash.
I enjoyed.
Ah.
Yeah, that was amazing. And it was like, why did I not think of them using that before? But besides that, I think the episode I like the most so far is the one with Cisco. Finding out about what's her name, that other Viber. The bounty hunter one.
Oh yeah.
Like
That was my favorite episode too.
Yeah, like I think that was the best
Oh,
one.
really?
And just because, like, I know TornadoSoup, you were saying you like the suit more. I actually prefer the no chin strap suit, which is also, you say this one, like the one right now is like, we see in the comics, but I mean, we've seen the chin strapless one, more definitely,
Yeah.
But like, I preferred that suit, but that's just personal taste. But as far as overall like structure and everything this season, it's just been, I just think it's been whack, man. Like, I feel like they're, I'm not saying any of them are bad actors, but like the writing, like the setup for like whenever they have like that episode where like Joe and Barry are talking on the ledge at the end of that one episode, and like it's just like I don't feel like it's executed good. It seems cheesy, like the way they're expressing their emotion. It just seemed, I just didn't think it was good. And just the whole, like with what's this villain that's going on, the dude from Heroes, the doctor.
Bloodwork?
Like that whole thing, I don't think it's very well compared to other seasons. I feel like they did a better job of setting up like a crisis event over episodes with like the oh goodness, what's his name? The Barry from the future when he's in the suit or whatever. Like
Savitar?
yeah, I felt like they did a better job like going through the episodes, getting ready for that. Even though like this time he's accepting, the fate, and in that one he wasn't. But I feel like that was better done than what they're doing right now.
Well, I'll say this. I disagree with you, Aquaman. I really liked the season of Flash. I've generally liked every season of The Flash. I think the one season, I haven't seen every season, to be fair. I haven't seen 1 and 2, which is probably my fault.
Oh my, those are the best ones.
That's what everyone says. And I didn't like 3. 3 was hard for me to watch. And I got on because everyone's like, that's when, like, I watched Supergirl season 1, and I was like, I'm going to watch the next season of everything. So, and I tried watching season 3 of The Flash, and I was like, it's not working for me. But I liked season 4.
You can go back and watch the first one.
Yeah, I did it. I liked season 4 okay. But I thought season 5 with Nora was really fun. But this season, I think, has been the strongest of the one. I like Nora's character, though. And I think... Cicada was not a fun villain. But I also have to remember I binge-watched everything. So the long, dragged-out plots didn't bother me as much. I thought this was the strongest season of the ones I've seen, so of 3 to 5, 6. I really liked the parallel between Bloodwork and Barry, and I think there was and they have the idea that Barry was very accepting of his death, and Bloodwork wants to fight everything. We were talking about how there was an interesting dichotomy between Barry and Oliver, but I think the real contrast on the show itself was between Barry and Bloodwork. And I think they had Bloodwork was willing to lose his humanity in order to fight his death, whereas Barry was ready to give up, was ready to die over losing his humanity. And I thought there was just such a stark contrast, and I thought it was really enjoyable to see such parallels. I also thought that the real purpose of the 8 seasons, of the first 8 episodes, was to do 2 things. One was to beta test what it's like to do a short plot, to do an 8-episode arc. And they've been messing on this with Arrow a little bit, and then they started working with this a little on Supergirl last season. But then they meant to spend season 5 doing this 8-episode arc, 3 8-episode arcs, and then they forgot, and then I don't know what happened. But probably the second arc just was really bad, and so Cicada's better. But I thought the use of an 8-episode arc was really powerful, and I think they're focused back on character development over action really helps with the whole thing. And every character got their moment to shine. I thought the best episode was License to Elongate, which was the episode with focused on the elongated man and like him going on a mystery. And I thought it was so funny how like it showed off just how great elongated man can be as a character when he like as like both goofy and also just a great detective. And I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, see, I thought that one where they're doing the whole James Bond thing, that was like my least favorite. It was just I'm all for silly, but it just wasn't good. And I get they're doing the arc thing, but like having a shorter arc, like I totally get that, but I just don't think they did a good job with it. And like when they're in when Joe's in like the mine or whatever with Pariah or whatever version of Wells this is, like that whole their heart to heart, like when they're trapped in there, fighting for oxygen, like I just felt like it was done really bad. That's all.
Okay, one last minute. We have one last minute of the 10 minutes. So let's talk about the build up to Crisis. In particular, let's talk about we talked about the acceptance of Barry's death a little bit. Let's talk about the Pariah ending. Okay.
Yo,
so
awesome squid, go buddy.
The whole Pariah thing, I'm not so sure what's up with that. Who is the voice?
Okay, I think that's
it can't be the Monitor.
I think it's the Anti-Monitor, and I think he accidentally unleashed the Anti-Monitor. And he was under he was like, I'm going to kill you, like, you're a horrible being, so I think that's the Anti-Monitor. But then when the second he released the guy and became Pariah, the red skies appeared. Just think about that, okay? Like, that seems a little too... And then he also thought, we're dead. But, like, he's like, oh, you saved my life. But he didn't really. So that's 10 minutes, you guys. So we are moving on. Actually, real quick, everyone score it out of 10. Go. I'm giving it an 8. Aquaman.
5.
I'll give it an 8. Yeah.
And
scoring what? The episode of The Flash?
The season so far.
The season so far? An 8 out of 10.
Okay, moving on. We are going to talk about Supergirl. So Supergirl this season is focused on John's test with Malefic, as well as Lena and Supergirl's new relationship. So I'm going to start the conversation off. I loved this season of Supergirl. I think Supergirl is at its strongest when it focuses, at least lately, has been its strongest when it focuses on the relationship between Lena and Supergirl. And I think the cast and the writers are being so careful with Lena as a character, and they refuse to let Lena become evil. And to the extent she's becoming evil, they really want to make it compelling. So I think that, which is really important. I think Lena saying I'm not the villain and saying that sometimes the good guys just don't win, like moments like that are just really powerful, because I think Lena genuinely thinks what she's doing is right, and I get why Lena feels that the way she does. I also really I was disappointed by the Leviathan arc. It at times it started really strong, and then when they actually delved into what this organization is, it was super disappointing. What did you guys think of it?
So I'm not all that caught up with Supergirl. I think I've got 3.5 episodes left before I'm caught up. And overall, I really like it. I don't quite like it as much as last season, but last season I might have liked more because I pretty much watched it all within the span of about 2 weeks, so it was more condensed. I really like how they're doing Lena, taking their time, making sure that even if she doesn't end up being a compelling villain, then we know her, and it still feels like a loss when she turns. And I think she is going to end up being a compelling villain, but there's at least that sense of loss, so that we're kind of walking with Supergirl through that. It feels like something really bad has happened, almost like a character dying because she's gone now. So I really like that. Really like Brainy, Dreamer, all of the supporting cast, really great. then, like, so this is not necessarily a problem that I have, but I'm kind of sad that they're not spinning off Jimmy into a Jimmy Olsen and the Newsboy Legion, but
So far.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They also had to say goodbye to James Olsen, which they
Yeah.
finally called Jimmy on like the last second he talks. His last line is like, "But you can call me Jimmy." That was like a we messed up on that his naming, so we're just gonna make up for it at the last possible second.
Well, the first episode of Supergirl, like the first episode, Kara calls him Jimmy, and he says only like Superman, and my mother called me that, so you can't. It feels weird. They went so long without. He was their friend for a long time. It did feel kind of shoved in there at the end.
Yeah. What did you think of the season as a whole, though?
I mean, from what I'd say, like I said, I really like it. Right now, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I don't like it as much as last season, but part of what I really liked about last season was Lex, and because I think John Cryer is just an amazing Lex Luthor. I do really like this season, and I like that they're building, like they've kind of got like they're kind of sort of adapting Lex Luthor Man of Steel by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermaggio, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
With Hope, and so I like that. It
Aquaman. What do you think of it?
So I haven't seen enough to really of the episodes to really give it a rating. I don't care for the ones I've seen. I'm not really a Supergirl fan. I like Supergirl in the comics. I'm not a fan of the show, so I don't really have much input for it, except for her foster sister or whatever. I can't look at her and not think of the girl or the role she played in Not Another Teen Movie.
Awesome Squid, what do you think?
I've only seen about half of it. It's okay. It's not my favorite season of the show so far. I think it pales in comparison to last season. I'm just not. John's brother, Martian Manhunter's brother, is not particularly. Yeah, he's not a particularly compelling villain in my opinion.
Did you get to the point where we learn the full truth about Malefic?
Depends on what you mean by the full truth, but I think so.
Like what John did to Malefic?
Yeah. It's just... Well, it felt like... For a shorter, arc, I like how the Arrowverse is doing that now, because my biggest problem with all CW shows is that they always water them down so much, and they drag it out so long, to the point where they have to have characters act stupid, or just plain like idiots.
Or make backwards progress.
Just to explain why they still haven't freaking caught Cicada yet.
Yeah, like last season on The Flash, where he would just jump away at the end of every episode.
Yes.
And even though there's two people who can run at the speed of light, he still manages to get away.
Because Barry literally just stands there like an idiot. It's so
or that one episode where Barry had all the time in the world to figure out how to beat the Flash, and yet every single time, or how to beat Cicada, because he was in a time loop and he couldn't figure it out to save his life.
Yeah.
It's just... So, what I'm saying is I was excited for the shorter arcs, and I think for all the shows, it's worked very, very well so far. I really like The Flash. I liked Arrow. I like the pace it's been moving. It's been a lot better. It's been a huge improvement. However, I just feel like this one didn't really gather together. It didn't like gel into like a full whole. Maybe it's because I haven't like seen the ending yet for it to all wrap up, but it feels kind of spread out, like it's a bunch of disconnected pieces that don't really fit together.
Well, we're at 10 minutes.
As cohesive a way.
We're at 10 minutes, so based on what you've seen, score the season out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8. Tornado?
I'll give it a 7.
Awesome Squid?
I don't know how fair this is since I've only
It's okay.
half, but
Yeah.
I'll give it a 6 out.
Aquaman. I take that as a 0.
No comment.
You were breaking out. I said earlier, like I haven't seen enough to really give it a score, but I mean, I would put it at like a 5.
Okay. So let's move on to Batwoman. So in Batwoman focused on Alice and Kate's relationship, and then Kate becoming Batwoman. What do you think of the season? Awesome Squid, do you want to kick this one off?
Yes. I've been enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. The first couple episodes were not that great, in my opinion. They were good. I think the choreography was good inside of all the episodes so far. But that was really all the first few episodes I got for it. But after that, it's really picked up. The melodrama frustrates me. I feel like it's not well written. Like that.
Can you explain the melodrama a little bit more? Like what melodrama you're talking about?
Well, there's a few different relationships. There's the Kate's ex, I cannot remember her name, who's now married to that man. And that whole arc is confusing and weird. They're all weird about being exes. Which doesn't make that much sense, in my opinion.
I kind of get it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
It just feels like It feels irrelevant to everything else so far. She's just there. It's almost like she was an excuse for Batwoman not to really join the Crows. But then they just had to continue doing stuff. It's weird. I think
what you're saying is the perfect example of what we talk about with like CW dragging stuff out and having characters be idiots.
Yeah, except inside this one's less world-ending and more just this drama should have been resolved already. There's no reason for it to continue going, and there's no reason for her husband to even really be that upset. But then again, she's all acting all weird about it.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary drama filler, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what also annoys me is the relationship between Kate and Alice. Because
no. Okay.
I like their relationship and everything, but I feel like Kate's been way too forgiving.
Well, I mean, that all changed.
Alice has literally just killed people, like stolen skin from corpses. And yes, it just changed, but it shouldn't have taken so long. Alice was killing people. Like, a lot. And Kate just was like, oh no, but like, she'll get better. I swear. I feel like everything else that they've shown about Kate does not make her seem like that kind of person. I feel like she would have not given up, but cracked down on Alice sooner than this.
I thought that was one of the things that's been so powerful about Mary, who's like one of the new characters this season.
I like Mary.
She is sort of Kate's conscience. Like, or like Kate's, Kate's super ego. She's the person who's like being like, Kate, this is what you should be doing. I'm your family. I've never killed anyone. I've loved you and tried to do anything I can to make our family work. And then you choose the psychopath sister over me. You know? And then, like, at the end, like, Mary feeling all alone after her mother dies and her blaming Kate, I just thought was very powerful. And I think Mary had, like, this wonderful story arc. And yet, I still think the intro to Mary having this like underground clinic was so weird.
It was weird. I don't know. I'm finding that Mary's one of my favorite characters inside the show so far.
Yeah.
She just feels more likable than the rest of them, and she's like you were sort of talking about, Kate's more grounded side. She's like the more grounded side of Kate, but Kate keeps brushing her off to be Batwoman, and that's going to cause some more drama. So let's see how that's written.
Okay, how long do you think it's going to be before Mary finds out that Kate is Batwoman?
Well, that's tough. Because you see, they have to have her find out that she's Batwoman, but then they also have to have like 10 episodes where she's just like, oh, I know she's Batwoman, but I gotta knock. CW always does that.
I think the sooner everyone knows she's Batwoman, the better. But we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah, but looking throughout the history of all the CW shows, all the Arrowverse shows, it seems a lot like keeping secrets is their excuse to write all this drama. They usually have one character keeping some big secret, like Barry not telling people he changed the timeline. Oh no,
yeah.
Drama.
Oh yeah. Or Supergirl just not revealing Lena's identity. Although I think that was one of the more powerful moments of the most powerful secret keeping in the entirety of the Arrowverse so far. Like if there's one secret that like makes sense, but is also also has lots of deserving drama, it was the handling of Lena. But we're talking about Batwoman. So I liked Alice. I thought she's a very fun character. I thought the episode with Mouse, where we met Mouse and like learned like what exactly happened to Alice, was really genuinely horrifying. And like my heart was pounding at multiple times.
Oh yeah, I love the scene where she's just watching the TV. The alert comes up that like she's missing, and she's like, "Why don't the police know where I am?" And it's just that oh no moment.
I thought the most powerful moment. I thought there was two powerful moments. One is when she finally figures out how to escape, and she goes to the phone, calls her parents, and tries to say like hi, and like, "Dad, I'm here, pick me up." And then she gets caught. Like my heart was racing the entire phone call. I was like, "He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there." Like that was really scary. And then I thought there was a really powerful moment where Kate and Alice were on opposite sides of the door, or I guess Kate and Beth at that point were on opposite sides of the door, and like Kate was like there, but like almost got to like I found Beth, but didn't.
Yeah, they were like practically touching, but there was that wall between them.
I thought that was really powerful. But TornadoSoup, you haven't talked. Do you have any opinions?
I really like Batwoman. It's better than I was expecting, but not as good as I had hoped. Because it does have a lot of the same melodrama, and Ruby Rose, it kind of goes from being a terrific Batwoman to kind of just okay. Like she handles all of the brooding stuff really well, and I think she does the humor stuff really well, but when it comes to more of the dramatic stuff, she feels a little more wooden, which can really be said for the majority of the actors in the Arrowverse. I really like the fight scenes. I think, because that's always been one of the strong suits with Arrow too. Just like in the mid-season finale where she's at the theater and there's this one long tracking shot as she's like fighting her way up the stairs, and I thought that was really cool. It kind of
Okay, can I be honest? I cried in the Batwoman's mid-season finale. When like Mary was over her mother, I was just bawling. Because Mary's such a good actor. And sorry, I just had to say that. Because that was so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's the best case scenario when a character dies, when you don't really care about the character dying, because Catherine was like an okay character, but she did some pretty bad things, so like you don't feel too bad. But seeing Mary have to go through that, and she's probably the best character, or at least one of the one of the nicest and most generous people, and big-hearted, and
Yeah.
you feel for her, and that's
Yeah.
where the tragedy comes from, not from the death, but from someone having to live after the death.
Well, but also the
That's a really good
tragedy
point.
partly came as a result of the very, very slow, drawn-out death, which was so powerful. Just this idea that
Yeah.
Catherine's just slowly dying while
I wouldn't
Mary's just
describe it as
holding her was so powerful.
It was so horrifying. It's a horrifying
Yeah.
death. And seeing
Yes.
Mary go through that. I do agree that the empathy for Mary is, as her mother is dying this horrible death, I have a lot of empathy for Mary because she was one of my favorite characters. And that's good because if the writers play their cards right, if they write it well, then they can carry that sort of empathy.
Well, we're at 10 minutes.
Later episodes through
Okay.
Mary. Oh, sorry.
10 minutes. Everyone give a score. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. Just 3 8s this time around. Tornado.
I don't know. I've given an 8 to all the others, so I'm going to give this an 8.1, so that I'm not repeating myself.
I see what you did there. Awesome Squid.
Essentially still an 8, but
I think it's a solid 7.
And Aquaman, based off the very little I know you've seen.
Oh man, I got no opinion. I'm not a Batwoman fan comic wise, and I probably won't check the show out.
Well, let's talk about Arrow. So Arrow has spent its season visiting past characters and building this weapon that we didn't know what it was, but now we do. Spoiler alert, it's Harbinger. We've been spending this entire season building up this very climactic weapon, and it's just Lila becoming Harbinger. Because apparently the Monitor can't make Lila that himself.
I don't know. I like the twist. It sounds
I
like
thought
you don't.
It felt like these needless fetch quests for what ultimately just didn't make any sense. And I enjoyed the building of the weapon was really just an excuse to go around the Arrowverse and just explore everywhere. And I don't mind that. I thought that part was wonderful. But I just the end result was not as satisfying as I would have liked. But I'm not hating it. I didn't hate it. I thought if you're gonna build Harbinger, that's not a bad way to do it.
It is a bit weird that the Monitor didn't directly make Harbinger, but I find Harbinger so fascinating inside this universe because Lila clearly wasn't meant to be her when they introduced her, early on in
Although
Arrow.
actually, the Mark Guggenheim, who's in charge, who's the creative expert on Arrow, on the entire Arrowverse, said that he originally intended for Lila to hopefully one day, if we ever get to Crisis on Infinite Earths, become Harbinger. Her codename, Lila being Harbinger in the actual comic, and then Lila's codename in Arrow being Harbinger.
Yes, is Harbinger. I think I read that interview, that same interview that you're referencing. It sounded more like,
or I assume we're referencing the same one.
It sounded more to me like they were making tons of references and hoped to one day eventually grow those seeds into trees, turn those references into something more, but they didn't actually have plans for Crisis.
No. They weren't planning for Crisis way ahead. It was really an Easter egg.
Debating whether or not to have superheroes at all.
Oh yeah, that was a time.
It's crazy how much the Arrowverse has grown. That's sort of almost to me what Harbinger represents. Just this character who's just a normal character, just a reference to comic book. It was nothing at all like Harbinger. Codename is Harbinger, but that's just a reference. But now, she's actually Harbinger. Think about how far the universe has gone. Think about how it's so much more than I thought it was going to.
TornadoSoup, what do you think of Arrow?
I hate it because of how much I absolutely despise the season because of how much I love it. If last season were the final season of Arrow, I would have been fine with it. Good riddance. I'm kind of tired with it. It's run its course. now when it's ending, I'm going to be sad again because it's reminded me of how much I actually love the show.
Yeah.
Going back to all of the things that have happened in the past, going back to everything from past seasons, it's just reminded me of how good Arrow is at its core.
Yeah.
So now I'm really gonna miss it, even though I haven't enjoyed it all that much for the past few years. And seeing all these characters again that, in some cases we haven't seen since like the second or third season, and characters who have been dead in universe for like 12 years, or it's just a lot of fun, and they actually made the flash forwards interesting.
Well, they started bad and then they got interesting. They got interesting. They got interesting when they stopped being flash forward.
Yeah.
I don't know about it yet. I feel like it has potential, the idea of the future, but right now I don't think. I guess I think the big thing. Actual spin-off.
Yeah, I think the big problem the flash forwards have had is they tried to have a season worth of development for the characters and throw it all into a very short amount of time through like these 4-minute scenes. And as such, they feel like they need to get like a season, like an episode's worth of developments within these characters, because which results in a lot of shock value. And I'm curious and I thought the one episode that was all flash forward was actually not that bad. So I'm curious to see what happens when everything's a flash forward, and if they can make that better.
Isn't it like episode 9 of Arrow that's going to be the sort of backdoor pilot or setup for the spin-off?
Yes. So Arrow episode 8 is Crisis. Episode 9 is the backdoor pilot. Episode 10 is the final epilogue.
Really, there's only one more episode of Arrow left. Like,
well,
one
there's
more
3.
episode but there's only one that's like actually Arrow in its pure form.
Well, yeah. So
there's Crisis, which is just
So this backdoor pilot is gonna be like the kids trying to get back to the future, if I had to guess, and like them like finding out what probably happened to the future while they were gone, or seeing what this new future is.
The metal arm?
Yes,
I hope.
Yes, I think so. But I think what's going to be more compelling is them like clearly the Team Arrow's been trying to change the future. So I think part of it will be them going back to the future and seeing what's changed.
Yeah, well,
and then seeing those changes apply to themselves slowly over time. And I think that'll be really interesting.
Maybe, what's her name? Mia will be happier now.
Oh my god, Mia is such a brat.
Yes. But, like, my problem with Mia is every single episode she's in, she's exactly the same. She's all upset, then towards the end of the episode, she's happy. And then that keeps repeating.
I know. Although I thought, in a sense, one thing I found that was so fascinating about this Arrow season was that Oliver seemed to be doing sort of the same thing as Mia, where, like, this realization that he's dying made him want to push everyone away again so that he didn't hurt everyone. Whereas Flash, like, brought everyone closer as a result of him because he knew he was going to die. Arrow sort of pushed everything away. And I think that, like, we look at, like, Barry's, like, Oliver's constantly refusing people to help him. And even up till the season finale, like, Oliver tries to go on, like, a solo mission. And I think that really worked. And I think Mia's kind of doing the same thing. And I think, in a sense, it shows how much Oliver's grown and yet how little he's grown. And I think it's actually super compelling. Oliver is much more a hero than he ever was in the island, like 13 years ago. But he's still sort of the same person he was 7 years ago.
Yeah, and like season 1 of Arrow, he's basically just a serial killer.
Yeah. And in a sense, he's changed so much. In a sense, his, like, personality's changed so little.
I don't know if that's, like, the clever writing or the fact that CW doesn't actually develop the characters.
I think it's clever writing. because they reference it in this. They reference it in the beginning of the season of season 8, saying, "Oliver, why are you pushing me away? This is what." And like they even show like Oliver trying to get Diggle to leave in like an early in the flat in Arrow, the first episode of the season premiere. Like they even reference that Oliver, almost in a sense, hasn't changed. So I think it's kind of purposeful. Because if you look at Oliver in season 7 versus him in season 8, he's definitely pushing people away as a result of him finding out he's going to die. Now that is 25 minutes. I mean, that is 10 minutes. So I'd give it a score out of 10, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the bigger picture stuff.
Like the island, because I have a lot to say about that.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay. If anyone who just is skipping Arrow, skip another 5 minutes. Okay, let's talk about the island.
Okay, so that's the whole island, like, restoring to its state, like, 5 years ago, or to literally, like, being a purgatory of sorts, was such a weird idea.
I actually didn't mind it. I think
liked it, but it's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. I thought the finale was compelling, but I didn't think it was my favorite episode of the season at all. I really liked what was that episode? The one in Russia. I thought that was my favorite episode this season, where they went to Russia and like Fight Club, and then like really just be enjoying Anatoly, and like Anatoly just because Anatoly's changed so much as a character, and it was really great seeing how
Anatoly ever going to turn into KGB.
No, he's not. Just accept that.
I know I need to accept that he's not, but it would be nice, or at least them to just throw out a reference or something.
I think they were trying to build to that at one point, and then somehow that didn't come to fruition, but Harbinger did, which is really weird. But because in a lot of ways, those two characters are kind of in the same boat, where they were references at first, and then they were kind of just hoping that maybe one day they would turn into the real thing, and somehow we got the multi-dimensional career of this grand powered cosmic being, and we didn't get the Russian guy with a gun for a hand,
which feels like a lot easier of a thing to do. I can see in like some other dimension somewhere in our multiverse where
Anatoly,
a different direction, and Anatoly was a big bad for I can see them doing that, like have KG Beast like come back and be like, "I hate you," basically just doing Deathstroke
again. Yeah, I get it.
I feel.
Well, what was your favorite episode? Like going down the circle, like what was your favorite episode of the season? I thought the best episode was the one in Russia. TornadoSoup, what was your favorite episode?
I don't know. I mean, I really liked the Russian one, but I think I have to go with the premiere, just because all of the Earth 2 stuff was really cool to see, and it was just like so different straight off the bat with
the Batman mask.
Yeah. So
yeah, Awesome Squid, favorite episode?
That's a tough one. I think I also agree with you on the Russian.
Okay, and then Aquaman, favorite episode?
Gosh, I don't know about a favorite one for this season. I mean, I loved the show when it started. Like the first 3 seasons were great.
But sort of been losing steam.
Yeah, like I really feel like they should have just ended it after the 3rd season, after like the Deathstroke story, and like him and Felicity like drive off, into the sunset or whatever that that scene was.
That would have been a good end.
You said it would or wouldn't have?
It would have.
Yeah, no, I feel like they should have. Like I fell off like halfway through the 4th season when it became like Felicity and friends.
Season 6 was horrible.
Yeah, and like just like I mean, just the whole format of the CW stuff with like just cut it down 10 episodes, get rid of all that unnecessary drama filler, and just bang out that plot.
I will say
why I like the shorter as an idea.
Okay, for those of you who are curious, because I didn't see a bunch of the Flash, I've seen Arrow season 1 and 2. I didn't see 3. I didn't see 4. I saw the beginning of 5. I didn't see 6, and I saw
You're
all
lucky
of
for that.
7. And I saw all of 7. And I've seen all of 8. And I enjoyed 7.
7 was a lot better than the season before. I'll give it that. But at this point, I feel like they shouldn't even be doing a spin-off. I think it's time to just retire Arrow as an
Well,
idea.
I'm gonna because we're about to talk about the bigger picture stuff. I actually have a very compelling reason for why I think we should keep Arrow going through the new Arrow and the Canaries or whatever. But
So we can get a drug addict Roy Harper.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, what score it out of 10? I'm gonna give it a 9.
I'm gonna give it a 9 too.
Come on.
No comment.
Translation a 0. And Awesome Squid.
I think I'll give it an 8 because it's not blowing me away, but it feels like a solid sort of ending. Solid look back at a show that was good. I like how it looked back through all the good and bad, and it seems to be like a fitting ending.
Yeah, and I thought last comment before we talk about the bigger picture is I thought even when it like revisited the bad stuff, like it found a compelling. It was fun enough to like keep you enjoying it. Like it took what worked of the bad seasons and brought that back. Like with the one in Hong Kong, like I thought generally that was one of the worst episodes, but I thought that it was still really fun. And I thought like the formatting was like very compelling. Of just like there's reveals and the characters were really compelling. So let's talk about bigger picture. So coming out of Crisis, we know the following things are going to happen. 1, Supergirl will be a very different show. Like a lot will change. 2, Flash will be a very different show. 3, Arrow will be setting up Green Arrow and the Canaries and having its series finale. And then 4, Batwoman's probably not going to change at all. And 5, we don't know what's going on with Black Lightning. So, and by the way, the reason why we're not talking about Black Lightning is because none of us have actually seen it, and I've read the plot summaries because I did plan on talking about it in case someone was there, but that's okay. So let's start with the first one. We're gonna spend like 3 minutes on each of them. Okay. Green Arrow and the Canaries. So this is my reason for why why Green Arrow and the Canaries will work. Okay. The future, as we've been seeing it, is this world as it exists right now. And yes, Crisis has had an impact, but the results of the crisis haven't been clear. And someone like Mia has been very quiet about like what actually happened, which makes me wonder if the future where the events where the combining of Earths with Crisis didn't actually happen. Like this world that if Crisis had just like this what if like Crisis didn't have the impact it does have. I almost wonder if that's the case, and that's them going back to the future, and I'm seeing not only the changes that they made and that their parents made as a result of knowing the future, but also this is the future of after Crisis. Where is the world at? Why is the world the way it is? And what happens to like people like Superman and Supergirl in this future world? I also think it'll be interesting because there's no way the Legends and Green Arrow and the Canaries don't have some sort of crossover, which is another reason to be excited. Anyway, that's my compelling reason. What do you guys want Green Arrow and the Canaries to be?
Well, I need to learn about the future of Bebo. Like we know,
Bebo.
So like Bebo started out in the 90s, still pretty popular, today. What's going on with that in the 2040s? Legends
Also,
can answer that.
What about that burger place, Big Belly Burger?
Ruled by Supreme Leader Bebo, then I don't know what the future is.
Well, I'm also curious to see what's going on with. Remember in Legends Tomorrow they set up the Argus being like evil now plot, and with like Seattle. I want to see what's going on with that.
I wonder if they'll just forget about that or not.
Well, isn't Zari dead?
Well, she was she's not dead. She just never existed. because the timeline
Oh.
altered so much. But then why wouldn't that happen to like Mia and William and and Connor? Because
Yeah.
in Flash, the past changed, the future changed, so that Nora was never born. She was just wiped out. In Legends, the future was changed so that Zari is still alive, but she was replaced on the Legends by her brother. So then shouldn't that happen to Mia and Connor and William? Shouldn't they be?
Well, they're still alive, right? They've just
Yeah.
and they probably still come together. They're just going to be
This whole
different
discussion
people.
is based off of the assumption that the CW writers have any sort of consistency when it comes to the rules of how time works inside this universe.
When the timeline changes, yeah, good point.
They just make it up for what they want.
One of the biggest
purposes.
problems I have with like the time stuff and consistency is like with the Flash and like the Time Reapers or whatever they are, like
Yeah.
all the
The
time
time
since
wraiths?
yeah, thank you. All the times that they've like gone back in time, especially just like Nora's powers in general, like where are they? Like it's like they just forgot about them.
Yeah.
They conveniently forgot about them. They tend to
It's just writing.
throw concepts away a lot. Like, remember
Yeah.
like the whole time remnants thing? That was a weird idea. They just threw that the heck away. We haven't seen that concept come up forever.
They kind of covered their butts when it came to the time wraiths thing, because remember in season 3, Savitar is talking to present day Barry, and he says something along the lines of, "The more you mess with time, the less the rules apply to you." So basically, that just gives them free reign to throw out the rules the more people use time. Because at this point, nothing matters to the Legends because they mess something up every Thursday at 8.
Although they tend to
those
fix
time guys,
everything before.
They operate outside of time through like the Speed Force, though. So like, yeah. I still just think it was a
That's
lazy
confusing.
writing thing.
Well, let's talk about the future of Supergirl. Let's talk about the future of Supergirl. So, according to all the trailers, and have you guys seen the sneak peeks? The 40 seconds clips of just like without unedited footage
of Crisis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one with the tower.
Yeah, and then there's another one where there's another one. Oh my god! And then there's another one where when Lila first appears in the DEO. Have you guys seen that one?
No, I do not think I have.
Do you want me to spoil it or not? So there's 3 clips.
I don't care.
There's 3 clips that they've released. Okay, one is Superman and Supergirl talking about the destruction of Argo, just the 2 of them. Okay, and Supergirl and Kara is finally doing what she was supposed to do when she was sent away from Krypton, which is being a mentor and a caretaker for Clark. And I thought that moment's really powerful, and you guys should enjoy that. 2, Lila, this is the funniest thing. So Lila arrives in the DEO, and Alex, who's in the DEO, immediately like, put your hands up, like this giant like force just like enters the DEO, and Alex is like, put your hands up, and then like is prepared to fire a shot, and like everyone swarms Lila, and then all of a sudden, Barry, Oliver, Mia, Kate, and Kate, Oliver, Barry, and Kate all arrive together. They're all teleport here, and then the first thing that happens is Kate goes, "What the frick? Kara? Where am I? And then who are these people?" And Kara goes, "Oh, I trust all these people in my life." And then Kate, see, this is full spoilers, okay? It's only 30 seconds. And then Kate is like, "Do you trust these people?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then Kate takes off her mask and says, "Well, then I guess you can call me Kate." And then Oliver goes, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
yeah, because
And then the next thing that happens, actually go back a little bit. I missed one thing. The second Kate arrives, before she even says who are those people, she goes around, she slaps Lila in the face, like slaps her like real hard. And it's like, I almost got information I need. Who the frick are you? And it's like genuinely terrified of her. And it's just like Kate just slaps her, and that was really funny. And then the last thing that happens is Mia goes, well, by the way, I'm Mia. I'm Oliver's daughter. And then John Jones goes, I didn't realize Oliver had a daughter. And then Mia says, he gets that a lot. And that's the entire clip. So it's basically an introduction, but it's so funny, you guys. Like it's just really well done. And then they get
character interactions.
Yeah, it's just the first meeting of like a couple characters. Like it's why part of why everyone always enjoys the crossovers is because it's a chance for people to catch up.
It's a fun chance to see character interactions. Like, I haven't seen it, but how you mentioned how Oliver didn't actually ever learn that Kate was Batwoman inside of Elseworlds. How they have a little references like moment for like the audience. Like it's just a little bit of fun in there.
Yeah. I just also love the line of like, I'm Oliver's daughter. Oliver has a daughter, he gets that a lot. Like Mia's just being like, Mia's not explaining, oh, I'm from the future. Mia's just like, no. He gets that a lot. I thought that was funny. And then but the big thing that's going on, it seems, is Supergirl's world is gonna die, be destroyed, and the people are gonna be saved. And then Supergirl will take place on Earth 1 next year? Or next quarter?
Segment.
Yeah. Like in the next arc, Supergirl will all take place on Earth 1.
That's what I think will happen, yeah.
I think that's going to be really fascinating.
I already posted...
Because as far as we know, National City doesn't even exist on Earth 1. So there's going to be a lot that's going to go on, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Argo City's destroyed. Jonathan is the official name of the baby. And I'm really excited to see what's going on with Supergirl next season. Now, the big question is... Yeah. What?
Speaking of Jonathan...
Oh, yeah.
Casting news.
I think they're going to age...
Yeah, no way.
I think they're going to age him up.
No way he doesn't. See, this is why I'm almost wondering if they're going to do a timeline rewrite, where the two worlds just merge on timeline, and then all of a sudden Superman now has a 10-year-old son.
Well, I feel like because they send him on a pod from Argo to Earth, they mentioned that.
Ooh.
And I think they're going to do it like Alexander Luthor instead of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think they're going to find the pod, and he's going to be aged up. That's just my theory. Weird theory. I can see it happening.
I actually kind of like that. And then maybe the start of Superman is just Superman exploring the multiverse, just trying to find Jonathan. He's just randomly displaced in the multiverse.
I think they'll find Jonathan during the crossover. Actually,
you think so?
Yeah.
Well, because do we know if they've cast Jonathan yet?
Actually, good point.
Well, they just sent a thing out. They're looking for two, a 14 and 13-year-old boy, casting thing. And one of them's most likely Jonathan. Some people are trying to argue that the other one's Damian, but it's not Damian. It's not. I'm telling you, I would bet anything it's not Damian. It'll probably be someone from.
Well, we've met
Argo
Talia.
or somewhere else.
Well, we know Kevin Conroy is going to be the official Batman. Right, in the Arrowverse, because Kate recognizes Conroy. And then
Nathan,
we've met Talia, right? We've met Talia al Ghul, and Talia al Ghul is white, correct? Generally, Damian's
she's not white.
She's not white.
Not a white actress. No, and plus, I can't see the CW passing up an opportunity to because they're all about the representation and everything. I can't see them putting in a white kid to play Damian when he's part, Middle Eastern.
Are you sure she's not white? She looks pretty white to me. She definitely doesn't look.
An accent, but what's the actress's actual?
Okay, I'm trying to figure that out as we go.
And plus the description for the other actor they're looking for, the other kid, it's like, what is it? Like he's not good socially, like, and not like Damien, like, because I mean he's all about arguing and stuff like that, but also he's like a video
Damien
game
isn't
person.
good. What?
So
Oh,
it sounds more like they're looking for like a Lex Luthor kid, or maybe just maybe Jonathan's friend that's in like Candor or Argo or something like that.
Yeah, I can. I don't know. Is the CW allowed to touch Damien? Is that getting too close to?
And that's another
No.
thing. Are they even allowed to touch? Because they can't really touch Batman. I know Kevin Conroy's doing his thing, but they can't, like,
Well, no, they've
normally
touched Batman.
They're allowed
No,
to
literally,
say
they're touching Batman. Part of what's going to happen, I guarantee, in episode 2 of Crisis is we're going to meet Kevin Conroy's Batman, and Kate recognizes.
But he's not going to be.
But Nathan, you can't have a Batman show. They won't let you do that.
No, they're not going to make a Batman show.
No, I get that, but then it wouldn't make sense to have Damien on that show as being Jonathan's friend and being like, are you jumping Earths, or like, why are you hanging out with Jonathan? Like it doesn't make sense.
But hypothetical here. What if they introduce Damien in Batwoman, the second half of Batwoman? Hypothetical here.
You can't introduce Damien without explaining why Bruce is gone and having him in some way return, which I don't know if they're willing to do yet. Do you think the writers actually have a reason why Bruce is gone inside of Batwoman? Or do you
I think they're going to explain it in Crisis. I think they're explaining it in Crisis.
The only thing I could think of is they're like, he's doing Batman Incorporated stuff, and that's why he's like, because in like comics he's like, Dick, you can handle Gotham, and he'll just be like, oh, Kane, you can handle Gotham. This is my son.
Except he left without
warning. Yeah.
So maybe he will show up and they'll be like, oh well, it looks like Gotham already has a protector. I'm going to be off doing my own thing. I can see that happening.
Talia does not have a identified ethnicity in Arrowverse, but in the comics, she's Middle Eastern.
Yes.
I feel like they're going to make Damien Middle Eastern. I feel like it'd be weird if they didn't, especially considering the CW. They like.
That's what I'm saying. It's the CW. They wouldn't pass up on that chance for representation. So, like, I just can't see this kid they're looking to hire. That's they're asking for a white kid. I just cannot. I'm telling you, it's not going to be Damien.
I will say that it's unprecedented how much the Arrowverse has been able to do. They've been
explode. Yeah.
They've been allowed to say Batman's name, which not even Gotham, like the show about Batman, could do. They weren't.
Look at Arrow in general. The guy originally wanted to do a Batman show, and Arrow, because of his roster of rogues and stuff. It's pretty much been a Batman story. Like you got Deathstroke, you got Ra's al Ghul. And then they just butchered the Shadow story. Like the Long Bow Hunter is one of the best Green Arrow comic stories. And then they just totally get rid of her.
Well, I'm enjoying Batwoman in part because because of the two. We've gotten Magpie and we've gotten Thomas Elliott, and they're having some fun with these classic Batman villains who haven't gotten touched on yet. And I think that's going to be interesting.
More major villains can show up.
Well, okay. Last
Do you think
question.
Kate's gonna shoot Clayface?
Last question. No. Although oh my god, that's the only moment I've cried in comics. No joke. In Detective Comics, that when Kate shoots Clayface, I cry. Anyway.
The only time I've ever cried is when Green Arrow is beaten to death by Superman in Injustice.
Wow. So, last thing before we wrap it up, because we're gone 15 minutes over, is what are 2 predictions you have for Crisis on Infinite Earths? As outlandish as you want.
A character from Gotham is definitely showing up. They have so many main characters in that show. One of the actors is available.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to happen.
I'm going to go next. I think we're going to see Lydia Carter as Wonder Woman.
I really hope so, but they're making Wonder Woman movies, so I don't know if
Lydia Carter's already done stuff with the Arrowverse, so I think it's possible.
Talk about Linda Carter?
Yeah,
Are you
Linda
talking about
Carter.
Linda
My fault.
Carter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Linda Carter. Sorry.
Well, the actress is there, but that's not the same thing as using the Wonder Woman IP.
I get it. I think it's
read
gonna
that
happen.
Warner Brothers. I've read that Warner Brothers is kind of pushing back on letting them use Wonder Woman.
Interesting.
But I mean,
I feel like, yeah, Warner Brothers has always sort of not liked their TV shows to touch their movies, and with Wonder Woman now being like a successful like movie property that they're working on a whole nother movie with, I don't know if they'll be allowed to touch her. They did mention that they were surprised by the amount that Warner Brothers has been able to give them.
So maybe. Aquaman, what's your big prediction?
I certainly hope so.
And after watching these last couple episodes leading up to this, I'm gonna say that my prediction is just that I'm gonna be disappointed with this Crisis, just because I love the actual comic story so
Wow.
good, and like the way they created Harbinger and just some of the other things. Like I can just tell it's
Go
yeah,
in
it's
with
not.
no expectations. Go in with
Yeah.
low expectations, actually.
Yeah,
It's too
low
late.
expectations. So, yeah.
If you go in with low expectations, you'll never be disappointed, and then it will exceed your expectations, and you'll like it.
Okay,
That's what I
Like
always
birds of
do.
prey.
Awesome Squid. Have you done a prediction yet?
I gave one prediction, but I
Okay,
have
Tornado Soup, what's your prediction?
okay, so I think Barry is actually going to die. All right,
Okay.
and then Grant Gustin is still going to be in the second half of the season of Flash, but he's going to be playing Eobard Thawne, and they're going to adapt the Return of Barry Allen story. And Eobard is going to be the main villain again. Because in Crisis on Earth X, before Thawne leaves because Barry let him for whatever reason, he says something like, I wonder what face I'll be wearing next time we meet. And the next time they meet is in Nora's future, but I think it is possible that he could use the same technology that he used to take Wells's face to take Barry's face, and then try to get.
Wouldn't that kill Barry permanently because it like shriveled up Wells?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, they've also.
It could be a time remnant.
They could do it. They could write literally whatever they want. The only thing I see in the way of the, I think that's a really good theory, but they've been sort of setting up like the whole black hole stuff from the, what was it, Williamson's run?
Yeah.
They've been setting up that, so.
I predict that Supergirl dies and Supergirl the show gets maybe one more season.
Whoa. You guys, so we think Oliver, Barry, and Supergirl are going to die?
I don't think that Supergirl's going to die.
No way. I think
that.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a Supergirl and Superman show running simultaneously. For at least a season. And then one of them will lose.
I don't think Supergirl's going to last much longer.
I give Supergirl one more season.
I think season 6 is going to be the last one, because that's even when her contract expires, and I don't think it's been pulling in the ratings they want to continue it. And it's an expensive show to get done compared to the other shows.
Yeah, their CG is actually pretty good.
Although I think Supergirl does have a winning formula for every season of being somewhat political, because I think it means every season's felt kind of fresh, and all of the seasons have been fairly good. In fact, arguably the worst season was the first season.
I liked the first season more than the second season.
The second season had lots of great stories, but less cohesiveness. And then season 3 and 4 were amazing.
I hate
them shoehorning their political ideology kind of, I think, hurts the show, if anything.
I just loved Rain. Rain was a good character.
I think I like politics inside of media when it's done really well, and it's a lot better done inside Supergirl Season 4 than it was previously.
Yes, and I think Season 5 has the politics in Season 5 of the value of technology have been really interesting. And there hasn't been a lot of it, but the parts where it's been there have been really interesting.
Do you think they're going to lead into that more for Crisis?
The politics?
No. Technology thing. feel
No,
like
I think they're gonna re-explore it in the second half of the season. I think that's a plot like you just gotta like they just can't focus on during Crisis at all. Because
No,
remember,
I
Supergirl has to do the
I meant after
expository.
Crisis.
Oh yes, oh absolutely, they're gonna keep it up in some capacity.
I feel like
And then
it'd be hard to carry over. That's all.
okay, my second prediction is Tom. This is a weird one, but Tom Welling. It's gonna be the last time we ever see him play Smallville, and they're gonna do a Superman Reborn plot where Tom Welling Superman and Tyler Hoechlin Superman merge together, and both Lois Lane's
what?
merges together.
I do not give him the Reborn plot.
I think that he's going to show up for one scene. They're like, oh yeah, it's him. They're gonna like be there for a bit, show him off, and they're gonna leave, and we're never gonna see him play Clark ever again in anything else, unless Warner Brothers decides to make a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, and then they'll pay like billions to get him, and then we'll see, and then we'll see him again. But until that happens,
Well,
it's
by the
really
way,
sad. I don't think we're. I'd be
someone from
surprised.
Krypton shows up. Calling it now. General Zod from Krypton shows up.
The only thing I'm really excited for is seeing Brandon Routh as Superman
Oh my God.
from Kingdom Come.
Oh, last comment before we head out, and then I'm gonna make one more comment. Then we gotta do the TV report, and then we gotta head out. So my last comment is because we gotta go because we're at like an hour and a half plus now, which is the longest episode we've ever had.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Time flies by quickly. So last thing, I've heard amazing things about the Ryan Choi casting, like amazing things about like this actor and like his knowledge of just who Ryan Choi is.
Really?
So he went to the audition. It's like he was the first comic book character the actor ever read was Ryan Choi. And this guy comes to the audition. It's a blind script with names and everything changed to try to hide who this character is. There's no mention of shrinking or anything. The only thing that's clear about who this character is personality. And the Asian actor comes up and like reads the script, and it's like he asks the writers in the room, it's been purposely designed so that the people reading don't know what the part is. And he's like, "This is for Ryan Choi, isn't it?" And the people in the casting room were stunned
Because
he knew the character so well that like he read this and was like, "This is Ryan Choi, isn't it?"
that means it's got a good handle on the personality. So that's
yes,
good.
And I think he's going to be amazing, and I think he's going to be a rising star in the CW Arrowverse. Probably join Legends of Tomorrow in some capacity very soon.
Yeah.
I think there's no question about that. And what's even crazier is he got cast literally a day before he was supposed to film. And he had just flown to Sydney Burbank, like to the Sydney airport to do some sort of audition or something in Australia. And he landed. He got the call while he was in the airport, and they said, "Can you be in Vancouver by tomorrow?" And he immediately got in an airplane and flew out. Like, I think he's just like that's just so incredible. Like everything I've heard about him. And that's a little scoop for you. So, without further ado, let's talk about the weekly TV show report. News report. So tomorrow, Supergirl episode 9, Crisis on Infinite Earths part 1, and Watchmen episode 8, A God Walks into a Bar. By the way, I've heard amazing things about Watchmen, but I haven't watched any of it.
Oh my goodness!
Have any of you seen it?
Oh yeah,
I've seen the first.
Go ahead,
I've seen.
What?
Go ahead.
Akmam, I don't know why.
So Watchmen is fantastic. That is an example of good writing and how it can story plots can be executed well.
Awesome. We don't have much time to keep going. And I do plan on talking about Watchmen at some point when I get a chance to watch it. And we all get a chance to watch it. Batwoman episode 9, Crisis on Infinite Earths part 2 is on Monday as well. And then right after that is Black Lightning episode 8, Book of Resistance chapter 4, Earth Crisis, which is a Crisis on Infinite Earths tie-in, which will directly lead into part 3 on Tuesday. So, like, literally, there's going to be red skies and everything. Like, it's going to be the Arrow versus First test of what a tie-in series would look like a tie-in episode would look like for an event that's not part of the actual event itself. So I'm very curious to see how this goes, and you guys should check it out. And then on Tuesday, Flash episode 9, Crisis on Infinite Earth part 3. And then on Friday, Harley Quinn episode 3, So You Need a Crew. Now, that's everything. That's all for this week. We are on Podbean, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So subscribe on those services. And we are not on Apple Podcasts because we ate the fruit of the tree of life, and we've discovered what all that's good and evil. And apparently Apple Podcasts is evil. So remember, I know Apple Podcasts sucks because they won't let us on, and it's actually my fault. Why?
Because it's too lazy to make a new label
logo. Yeah, so so the logo apparently has like a color that's like not allowed on logos for Podbean or for the Apple Podcasts, and so we're just not on Apple Podcasts because I don't want to make a new logo. But maybe
now you're never getting on. Now that you've been saying that they're evil.
Yeah, that's my fault. Oh well. And remember, next week we are going to be talking all about Crisis on Infinite Earths and breaking down everything that happened this week, because this is going to be a big week, you guys. I'm looking forward to it. So that's all for this week. Make sure you like and subscribe, and have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
You guys gotta say bye too, you know.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.